Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Excellence IAS. Let us have the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 22nd October 2022. The first article, an online fight where children need to be saved. This is about online child pornography. You know, child sex abuse is a big issue today. How to curb this menace is the question. The first is, across the world, how this is being done, let us examine. One is through voluntary participation of the people, and second is mandatory reporting structures from internet service providers. We have two examples. One is UK, that is Internet Watch Foundation is the example, and in the case of United States of America, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So these two, they mandate the compulsory reporting from internet service providers and also voluntary reporting from public. And a global network of 50 countries exists. This is called InHope. India need to join this global network sites if possible. And we also need to create a legal framework. So any kind of sexually explicit material against children, these have to be completely banned. And second is a portal need to be developed, that is cyber crime reporting portal, especially related to children, and it has to be integrated with structures like InHope. And the next part is why this crime is spreading. Under the cover of end-to-end encryption, this is spreading further and further. So bringing or breaking this end-to-end encryption or breaking this is very critical. Remember, internet service providers are not liable for third-party information that is hosted on their website. In these circumstances, these ISPs need to be made mandatorily to report, and also they have to be made accountable for that. This is how we need to talk about. Normally the question will be very broad on child rights. So when we talk about the child rights, one of the major challenge to the child rights is child pornography and sexual abuse. So this has to be added as a point in that particular context. Mandatory reporting, voluntary public participation, global networking, these steps have to be taken. This is the point you can add to it. Our people made 3 articles into one slide. Through choppy seas, this is about ongoing crisis in UK. Mr. Sunak has become the Prime Minister. Now, from the Great Hall, a focus on People's Liberation Army, which is related to the recent Chinese Congress and how People's Liberation Army is expected to be revamped. A crisis is brewing in coffee industry. The crisis which is there in coffee industry is the general crisis which also exists in agriculture. So the first is, from the hall, a focus on People's Liberation Army. So there are 3 important changes which I've announced. One is building powerful, strong, strategic deterrent capabilities. So minimal deterrent capabilities, lean and mean deterrent capabilities to strong strategic deterrent capabilities. That is the word which is used. This is a clear indication that China is trying to strengthen its nuclear capabilities. The second is the PLA's modernization is being emphasized. You know already theater commands are coming into place, and also the personnel policies are being reformed. Third is the Xi Jinping regime is worried about revolt from PLA. So that's where they are focusing on discipline in People's Liberation Army. So increasing loyalties to Chinese Communist Party from the army is very critical. So that's why a disciplinary inspector is being created. He has been given position above the existing 3 chiefs. So any chief can be sent to jail if necessary under disciplinary proceedings. In that way, they want to increase loyalties of PLAs to CCP. And crisis is brewing in coffee industry. What is the reason? Today the input costs are increasing, and it is a highly regulated sector. It is under the coffee board. And another part is the climate change is decreasing the yield, and lack of access to finances and higher cost of finances, especially lack of collaterals to get the bank loans, is the major problem over here. In this context, Indian coffee is liked across the world, but there is no proper branding to the Indian coffee. What government of India or coffee board has to do is develop branding to this particular coffee. And second part of this is the financially assured loans, identification of the farmers and providing them the assured loans in the crop season is critical for revamping the coffee industry or making the coffee industry profitable. The next is through choppy seas. This is about the ongoing economic crisis in UK. To explain this article, I need to make a small picture. So see here what Miss Truss did in UK. She has decreased taxes by 45%. The 45% tax cuts to the rich and influential. Obviously, that's what Tories believe in. Immediately because of this, the revenues of the government decreased. A kind of fiscal crisis has set in. Because of this, the bonds issued by the government, they lost the trust of the people. Loss of trust of the people. So it means the bond value has come down. When the bond value goes down, the interest that has to be paid on the bond or interest rates the government borrows will increase. Increased interest rates. It means this is called bond yield has gone up. The bond yield has remarkably gone up. Now, to stabilize this particular market, Bank of England, it started buying the bonds back so that bond value can be retained. So in this case, more money has come into the market. It has worsened the inflation. Inflation got further and further worsened. So we have got raised interest rates, increased inflation in the market. This has worsened the mortgage rates, housing mortgage rates, and the people are at the verge of losing their houses. So this is the spiral which has been created that has led to the present economic crisis in UK. And finally, Miss Truss has to resign as the Prime Minister of UK. So this is the cycle you need to know. So what is the decreased value of the bonds? When the value of the bonds decreases, when the bond yield increases. So bond yield and bond value are inversely proportional to each other. Remember this particular critical point in this. Right, these are the articles for today. Thank you very much.